Hi guys, great to be here with you today. Today our hero of faith that we're looking at is Samuel. Samuel can be found from 1 Samuel chapters 1 to chapters 25, reading about his miraculous birth in chapters 1 up to his death in chapter 25. Samuel was behind one of the biggest names in the Old Testament. He anointed David to be king. The story of Samuel starts off after his mother couldn't have children and prayed to God that she was able to. She said that if she was able to have a child, then she would give her son back over to God, so that he would be used in the world however God wanted him to. And this is what happened. Hannah was her name, and she gave birth to Samuel, and she gave him over to God. Sam grew up learning everything about God from Eli, who was the high priest at the time. Sam did a few different things in his life, but the bit I want to focus on is right at the start of the book of 1 Samuel, in chapter 3. When reading this chapter, I'm reminded of times when I lived with my parents. I'll be upstairs playing on my Xbox and they'd be downstairs and they would start shouting at me. "Luke, Luke," they would shout. And I'd shout back, "What? What?" And then the annoying thing would happen. They wouldn't respond. Then a few seconds later, they'd shout me again, saying, "Luke, Luke." And I'd do the same thing back, shouting back, "What? What do you want?" And again, no response. And this would go on for ages, with the shouts from both sides becoming louder and more annoyed in the tone. And eventually I'd go down and be like, "What is it that you want?" And they'd say, "Oh, I was just checking you were okay." I was busy playing my games, and they made me stop for no reason. I was being called and I just wanted to do my own thing. Maybe that kind of thing happens to you. A similar thing happened to Sam. Sam would have been living with Eli, and one night he heard his name being called. "Samuel, Samuel," it went. Then one of the strangest things happened. He went straight away. He didn't think, "It's the middle of the night, I'd rather sleep than get up. If I am wanted by Eli, then he'll come and get me." Sam got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." But Eli said, "I didn't call you, go back and lie down." This happened a couple times. Each time Sam got up straight away until Eli realised that Sam was being called by God. The next time when God called him, Sam said back, "Speak, for your servant is listening." When I was being called, all I wanted to do was do my own thing. I would just ignore the call because I thought that I would have to do something I didn't want to do. And Sam would have been a similar age to what I was, and when he was called, he didn't think I'd rather sleep. He didn't think, "Oh, not again, Eli just wants another cuppa." He knew the calling was from God, and he said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And it makes me think, firstly, do we hear God calling us in our lives? How do we respond? Do we even hear it? Are we too busy doing what we want to do? What would we just pretend that we just didn't hear it because we think we might have to do something we don't want to? Sam is a hero of faith, at such a young age as well. When he was called, he responded straight away. His main aim was to be doing what God wanted him to. Sam knew how important it was to be called by God. And maybe we know how important that is as well. Do we just want to do our own thing in life, or do we want to do what God wants us to do? Let us be more like Sam. Let us put the controls down. Let's turn the TV off. Let's close the laptop and say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening."